Hey traders, what's up? Jamie Saettele here. It is March 10th, 2022, and welcome to the Forex Power Hour. Again, Jamie Saettele here with Scandinavian Capital Markets and SB Trade Desk. So we are going to start with Euro. Why not? ECB, we've got inflation data, some wild intraday moves here today, some awesome moves this week. And first things first, real simple, trend line, right? 2017 low, 2020 low, and guess where we bottomed this week? Now the week's not over, and that's important to note because I'm going to show you a weekly candle chart with some signals on it that if we finish this week positive, if we close above where we open the week, we're going to have a pretty awesome signal. So let's go to that chart. All right, here you go. So these are proprietary I can't even speak today. These are proprietary reversal signals. And you can see that we have had some false ones over the last couple of years, but we've also had some really, really good ones. And essentially what this is it's a key reversal with a volatility component. And I also filter out the momentum with an RSI component. In other words, I don't want it to be too overbought or oversold because that's when you get even more false signals, right? Like we had some in this 2014 period, we had more false signals if we were to not include that component. So anyway, yeah, if we close above where we open the week, which is 109.25, we are going to get one of these signals, okay? And with that, I do want to go right to dollar SEK. Dollar SEK, hold on here. Again, if you've watched these webinars, you know I'm going to dollar SEK. It tends to be kind of a leader. I like to watch it to confirm what I'm seeing with Euro. And in this case, what I'm seeing makes a lot of sense. All right, so here's a daily chart. We had this fork from the low, right? Actually, the January 2021 low. And aside from this little, time spent out of it in October and November of last year, we have nailed pivots on these parallels, right? Center line, lower parallel, and now upper parallel, which was reached this week on Monday, of course, right? So you can use this as levels to give you an idea on near-term Euro action. I wrote in last night's update, for example, that the center line would be possible support for a bounce, right? So Euro resistance. Although we did hit a level in Euro today, and I will go back and show you some Euro levels near term. But if we got below this, then you'd watch for it to provide resistance as it did over here, and all throughout 2021. So again, going to that Euro chart, again, so we hit the Jan low here on the tick right after ECB today, and we've pulled back quicker than I thought we would into a really solid level, actually. So if we want to get really stupid in short term, there you go, trend line, right? So to me, this is an impulse, 5 waves up. I'm thinking we correct a little bit over the next couple of days and then have a better entry opportunity. At least that's what I'm watching for. In fact, if we go really short term, you can see that even this drop here is in 5 waves on a 10-minute chart. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Get a pop, one more drop, and then look at the long side. So, a lot of people don't shy away from really volatile markets. The irony is that if you are familiar with Elliott, the waves are actually a lot clearer when the market gets more volatile. The market's more emotional, right? And that's what produces these waves is the emotions. All right, so Euro again, allowing it to correct a bit and then looking for an entry on the long side, maybe tomorrow, maybe early next week, I don't know. We looked at dollar SEK. There's actually another dollar SEK chart. Okay. This is a really, really long-term dollar SEK chart. Back to the 70s. This is the, call it life of currency trend line if you want. And the center line of that has hit some pretty big spots, notably the high in 2016, and we have hit it, of course, this week. So I just thought that was interesting. Again, I like to describe, pitchfork action channels as trying to find the slope of the market, right? Trying to be in tune with that. And on a very long-term basis, you can see this slope has indeed hit a lot of big pivots. Okay, speaking of long-term, let's look at the reversal signals on dollar Swedish krona. So look at this. Again, we're going to get one of those this week if we close below where we opened, and we're well below that now. And look at some of the other ones that we've had going back, 13 or so years. I mean, this is like perfect. So again, good, to make kind of a bearish dollar reversal case from kind of a rules-based approach, right? All right, let's go to dollar yen. Okay, so dollar yen has been churning. It hasn't done anything with all this, crazy volatility and everything in every other market. Dollar yen's done like nothing. So here's a weekly, and again, this trend line is off the 1990 and 1998 highs. If you extend it back in time, it actually hits the low in 1978 as well. And it was resistance back here in 2015. And it is a wee bit higher at like 117.30. So essentially, I'm waiting for either that and then see what happens. I don't pretend to know what's going to happen at that level either, right? Resistance is resistance until it's not, right? Until it's broken. So I head into it looking to fade it, right? Thinking you get a reaction lower because it's resistance. But if we break above it, you kind of have to abandon that idea. So I'm looking at that as well as this trend line here. And if we crack that, then go with it, in my opinion. Okay, let's go with some little shorter term charts. Okay, so Aussie, very positive on Aussie, Kiwi, CAD, I have no idea, but very positive on Aussie. Again, we reversed from that November 2020 low twice, put in a double bottom of sorts, have retested. I think we're on our merry way higher. If for some reason we do pull back within the range, you've got a pretty clean level to watch for support, and that's going to be the 2022 VWAP level like 72, which is going to be close to this line off the lows, okay? So kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place because you do have, the trend line here back from the February 2021 high. But again, a break above would be extremely positive. Looking at equities are starting to get murdered. Looking at my other screen here. Alrighty, let's look at Kiwi. Okay, so Kiwi again is into big resistance. We've looked at this a bunch. This is the January 2020, September 2020 neckline. Was support, was resistance. It's been resistance again, and we are at it literally right now. So again, if you pull back from here, watch for support near 67 or so. just a very clean level, 2022 VWAP, and the trend line. Hold on here. All right. Okay, sorry. Okay, dollar CAD. I have no idea. We talked last week, I remember, about the possibility of this being a big A wave up, and everything since that August high being a triangle. Right? A, B, C, D, or A, B, C, D, and then quick E. Certainly, we could just continue to range, right? I have, I guess, with a positive bias on Aussie and Kiwi, you know, thinking significantly higher in CAD, dollar CAD probably doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but who knows, right? Look at each chart based on its own technical merit. Bottom line is we're coiled up, right? We've been trading sideways since August 2021. So go with the break, whichever way that is. Not going to spend much time here because I don't have much of a clue what's going on with dollar CAD. Euro CAD though is kind of interesting. All right, so Euro CAD, we took out the February 2017 low, and ripped, and then just now we've actually come into a pretty decent support level. So if you put fibs on here, they happen to line up actually with the natural market levels, which I like. So we've retraced 38.2 of this, appears impulsive, right? That means with the trend, right? Sharp 5-wave movements. So to me, I'm looking for a higher low, whether that was here or whether we come down to 39.50. I, don't really have that information. However, I'd be constructive Euro CAD, especially down here at 39.50. Okay, that's the 618. Okay, hold on here. Alrighty. Sorry, I just had to put a trade through. Okay. Euro CAD, we looked at that. Let's go to commodities and some equities, and then we'll also look at crude. And if you have any questions, please let me know. All right, so starting with gold. Gold got awfully excited. There's a lot of hype, right, with gold in the move higher. And frankly, I think that it probably needs to just consolidate for a little bit, trade sideways, frustrate some people before the next leg higher. And I do think it is higher, okay? And this is a great chart. So you've got a real clean support zone. One, you've got this trend line here off these lows, okay? September and December. If you throw a parallel on there, you can notice that it crosses a whole bunch of former highs. So that means we should be looking for that level to hold as support. That would be down near 1925 or so. I would very much welcome that if we got it. But I'll note that the top of a proposed support zone is probably like 1960 because that's the high from January. So again, pay attention, 1925, 1960. Trend line is in the middle of that zone along with 2022 VWAP, right, at 1940, which you can see has been support before. It was actually support back on the 24th, which was kind of another crazy reversal day. Silver, similar, of course. All right, we had this long channel all the way back to February of last year. We broke out. We are coming back to retest it. We more or less did today, but I'd welcome another stab lower. And that would be like 25.19 or so if you got that, okay? All right, now for some fun stuff. Crude oil. All right, bear with me. This is really going to show you the power of slope analysis, right? Okay, so this is a chart back to the 70s for crude, and you can see that the dominant slope or the dominant angle on this chart is the line that connects the 1986 and 2001 lows, okay? If you extend parallels off of that, here's the high, you can see it crosses highs and lows and highs. The center line, it crosses all kinds of supports, including the financial crisis low. And then if you extend parallels off the top, right, these are half extensions. Let's see what a full extension would be. That would be a full extension. But if you extend parallels, you get a bunch of resistance. And what was crazy is that the same parallel that we just tagged was the same parallel that was resistance at the Gulf War back in 1990. So I don't know. I think it's kind of cool. I am not advocating to go play in this market by any means. However, just from a pure chart basis and looking at this, again, the week's not over, but this is the weekly candle, right? That is not bullish in my view. Near term levels to pay attention to would be like, you can see the line off all these old highs back to March of 2021, so a year long. That line is going to be like 98 and change, so I'd pay attention to that level as a first kind of support, if you will, right? If you break below it, then maybe all hell breaks loose on the downside, but I would think you bounce there because it is such a well-defined former resistance line, okay? All right. I want to bring in as well chart from yesterday. Okay, so here was a chart from yesterday on crude. This is actually USO. It's the ETF, and the commodity ETFs, they're terrible, right? But I do find them useful for, you know, volume studies, my reversal volume logic, right? This was one of the 2-bar reversals yesterday that we had, in which we got a huge volume up day, followed immediately by a huge volume down day. In fact, both days were 2 times the average of 20-day volume at least a 50-day high. And that's actually only happened in recent memory only once, and it was back in 2019 right here, right? So I thought that was interesting as well, especially in light of that longer term slope analysis that I just showed you. So we have that. And this is a good time as well to remind you, right, in case you were not aware, but I talk about it every week. We are looking for profitable traders here at Scandinavian Capital Markets, okay? We've launched a new version of our prop trading program. So, you know, if you want to get into the business of becoming a money manager, trade for real, we are funding up to $1 million. Obviously, there is an assessment. You go to this website, scandinavianmarkets.com/funded-trader. And, you know, you take your assessment. If you pass, it's simple, you get funded. So check it out. Okay, last thing, we'll look at some equities. And really, I'm focused the most on this chart right now. This is the NASDAQ futures chart. You can see here, this is back to 2014, right? This magenta line here, nice and colorful. And it crosses highs, right? 2014, 2018. It nailed the high here in 2020, okay? And then it turned into, it was resistance one last time here in June, what is that? June of 2020, excuse me. Then it turned into support, right? Very precise support at that. So here, 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 here. We crashed into it, below it actually intraday, but then closed above it back on the 24th of February. Ripped, came back yesterday, ripped back above it, and now we are sinking today, and we're getting back near it. Anyway, my point is, as long as you're holding this, I think you have to look higher. At least that's what my brain thinks is higher, as long as you're above this, right? And how high? I mean, look, the first level to pay attention to is pretty clear. It's going to be like this low here from October, which was resistance here, right? 2022 VWAP, which is basically VWAP from the high, is right there too. But, you know, keep an open mind. You know, even if I do think that we are in a bigger bear market, I mean, this kind of action is not the kind of action that you see during run-of-the-mill corrections. But keep in mind that bear markets actually see the biggest rallies and the most fierce, right? The fiercest rallies. You get giant rallies. And we could get back to the underside of this channel, which is also the 200-day average, which is also the 618 retrace. So again, as long as we're holding here, constructive. If we break, all bets are off, of course, okay? And this 2018 analogy is still kind of holding, although it would have suggested we rally a little bit more, and we did not, okay? Alrighty, so kind of flew through that one. Markets are awfully busy right now, so let's get back to our platform, shall we? There we go. Okay, so again, Jamie Saettele here with Scandinavian Capital Markets and SB Trade Desk, and I hope you're enjoying this volatility. Be careful, don't trade too big. I'll talk to you next week. All right, take care. Bye.